the man may take his wife back.
What for we can do bayat, and it is same value done to the Prophet Muhammad.
When can we make bay'ah? And is it the same as bay'ah to Prophet Muhammad?
What the reason?
What?
What for we have to make bayat?
Yeah, when, meaning what is the circumstances? We make bay'ah to Amir al-Mu'mineen. If we establish a Khalifa, we make bay'ah to the Khalifa. As to anybody else who comes along and tells you, well, I'm your Amir, make bay'ah to me, don't do it. Bay'ah is only due to the Khalifa. Those people who call to bay'ah to themselves, they are following this Sufi tradition of bay'ah to the Sheikh.
In our neighborhood, the adhan for Salat al-Azhar is given at around 4:35, according to Hanafi Madhab. But the Shafi Madhab tells us that the time for Salat al-Azhar starts around 3:20. When do we pray in such a situation?
This is a leftover from that era. I came across masjids. I found one in Singapore when I went to pray there, and they had on the wall, Asr for Shafis, Asrs for Hanafis. We have two Asrs again. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. When you go back to the hadiths which describe how to determine Asr, you find that it agrees with the Shafi'i madhab. So Asr begins at the time that the Shafi'is have defined it, which is agreed upon by the Malikis and the Hanbalis. It's only the Hanafis who have made it later. Now, if a person prays at the time of the Hanafis, is he outside of the time for Salah? No. Only according to Hanafis, if you pray before that time, your prayer is not valid. That's their problem. But technically speaking, if one prays at the time of the Hanafis, it is within the time and it is acceptable. Although they lose out on the reward of praying in the beginning of the time. Prophet ﷺ had said when he has asked, what is the best of deeds? He said, as-salatu fi awwali waqtiha. Prayer at the beginning of its time.
Excuse me? We are.
It has the same value.
We are just.
Does bay'ah to the Amir al-Mu'mineen have the same value as bay'ah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
That is we can do for prayer and other purpose.
Bay'ah for prayer?
Yeah.
No, this is nonsense, as I said. This is bay'ah only to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam as the head of the state. This was carried on by Abu Bakr, by Omar, by Uthman, by Ali, the early caliphs. Bay'ah was given to them. That is the only bay'ah.
Regarding hijab, some scholars say that women should not cover their faces, while some say it is not compulsory. But
I don't know any scholars who say that women should not cover their faces. All they say is that it is not compulsory to cover their faces.
I have heard some scholars saying so. From the viewpoint of companions of
those who say the women should not cover their faces are in a state of ignorance. This is not scholarship, because anybody who knows or has the basic scholarship of Islam would never make that statement. There's too much evidence of women in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and after it covering their faces to indicate that it is a part and parcel of Islamic practice.
So it's a must?
No, it's not a must. It is something preferable, something commendable. A woman is rewarded for doing it, but there's no sin in not doing it. And the evidence for that, if people want to go and look for the argument to show that it is not obligatory, you can find it on my website, bilalphillips.com. If you go there, and the article on the woman's veil, it is there. Sister,
if you're facing your feet towards Qibla or towards Quran, is it disrespectful?
No, it is not. It is disrespectful to read the Quran and not understand a word that is in it.
Let's take
why don't the ulama of different sects sit together to have a common approach, to have a single sect, that is the madhab of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And what is stopping them to do this?
Well, there is an effort going on, has been going on for some years now in Mecca. They have what is known as Al-Majma' Al-Fiqhi. Al-Majma' Al-Fiqhi, which is a meeting of leading scholars from all over the Muslim world who gather every year at different points in the year and look at different issues of fiqh. And they assign among them certain issues to be researched by some among them, who then bring it back to the main body, and they look at the arguments and they accept the rulings, or they reject the rulings, or maybe they accept two rulings. So that effort has been going on, and this has been compiled in texts which are printed from Kuwait. This is the effort of the Majma' Fiqhi. So there is an effort today towards that.
But why is it taking so long? You said...
Why? No, brother, we don't go into why it's taking so long. Why it's taking so long is because Muslims are taking so long. Why don't Muslims come together as a ummah? Why are they taking so long? Because they're ignorant of Islam. There's a lot of problems that they're faced with, a lot of things they have to overcome. It's taking time. And we don't have to worry about the time. All we have to worry about is doing what we can while we can.
Sister,
Is it mentioned in the Quran that husbands have the right to prohibit their wives from meeting their parents, and do husbands have the right to decide whom the wife should meet or should not meet?
There is nowhere in the Quran where husbands are given the right to prohibit their wives from visiting their parents. That is a part of Silatul Rahim. In fact, the Quran instructs that the connections with the family be maintained. Furthermore, a husband does not have the right to tell his wife who she should meet and who she should not meet outside of the home, if she is given permission to go outside the home, etc., unless he is instructing her based on protecting her from some corruption. In other words, his instruction is to prevent her from being in contact with people of loose morals, or etc., etc. So where his instruction has to do with protecting her religion, yes, it is permissible for him to instruct her. But where it is just to assert his authority, then it is something disliked by Allah. But in the end, she as a wife must obey him. She as a wife must obey him. And he will carry the sin of his error.
What is the real sunnah behind the covering the head by cap or turban?
What is the real sunnah of covering the head? Well, the natural sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ was to wear a cap and a turban. To wear both a cap and a turban. That's what he did naturally. And he instructed, if you wear turbans, then wear caps under your turbans to distinguish yourself from the mushrikeen. So if you're going to wear a turban, then wear a cap under your turban. Other than that, you can wear on your head whatever you wish, you know. But the idea of believing that your salah is not acceptable unless you put something on your head. So now you put a bunch of caps at the door of the masjid, or people take out handkerchiefs and tie it on their heads and these kind of things. This is not from the sunnah. If you're going to cover your head, cover your head. Wear it all the time. Why put it on just for salah? Because you putting it on just for salah implies we have a prayer cap. That's the Jews.